This conference will now be recorded.
All right. I love when technology affirms us in our success. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the February 9th edition of Coaching Call. You'll notice my fancy new headphones and microphone. That's because this office that Kevin made such nice comments on is no longer a private office. I'm sharing office space with Anthony and Josh, and then I've got Joy through that door back there, and Rebecca through that door. Any of them could come prancing through at any time. So this will help me to stay focused and keep the what do they call the background sounds down to a minimum. So all right, good to have you here. I think we're going to have a great discussion this morning about ways to get new listings. But before we jump into that topic, let's just pause and say, what are your big wins, big frustrations? What's going on in your business right now? What can you tell? And you know what? You can even talk to us personally if you want to for a moment. If your grandkids did something special or your kid won in Taekwondo and beat up another kid, we'd like to hear about it. Anybody want to jump in?
I'm always good with something.
Oh, well,
I
we're
had my
waiting,
best.
Kevin.
I had my best closing so far. I had a really good closing yesterday, and it was it was a great day. It was a new build construction,
Mhm.
and then I ended up having it was the new home over there in the East Shore, and it took the builder a long time to finally get it built, but it was great, and took the client to breakfast in the morning and had repeated meetings with the builder and fix this, fix that, and just really was with him all the way through to the end of the day. We went out again for lunch and went back and trying to transfer money and you know, you get into different problems when you try to transfer money. Sometimes people have limits on their accounts; they can't transfer the whole amount of money, and
Yes.
and it was a big amount of money and it hit one of those limits, and so it was interesting set of problems, and long story short, um, it was really good to be there with the client through all of it. um, you know, he's signing these papers and saying owner's title insurance 8 grand, what is this, and I'm
Right.
like, and just being able to answer the questions and different things, and he was happy. I'm happy. I felt more confident in being able to have a good answer for all these questions as they came up. It was just a really, really good day, and I'm glad I was there because it would have been awkward to have him calling and you're not there, and you hear the angst and the anxiety in the other person and not being there to do it. So I think
Yes.
all in all, it worked out really well. It's a win-win. I'm very happy.
Well, congratulations,
I
Kevin. We're all
earned my
we're all
keep.
happy for you. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, welcome, Velvet. Good to have you on the call as well. We are sharing wins, losses, personal and professional news and updates. Anything going on, Stacy, Rochelle, Dakota, Velvet?
I've got one, and I'm sorry, I'm not on camera. I'm just walking up my stairs from dropping my son off at school. So,
Oh,
I've been really working my sphere pretty hard and have two clients who bought are buying a new construction from the ground up in Willow Point. And so they signed that, and I am listing both of their homes. This is going to be my first two listings where it's not like hair on fire, have to list immediately. So I'm kind of excited to be able to actually like advise them through the process without it being a rush thing. So super excited about that.
great. Okay, awesome. Well, great job, Stacy, and thank you for joining us even on the go. That shows you're in. All
I'm
right.
excited.
Absolutely. All right. Rochelle, Dakota, Velvet, any of y'all want to grab the mic real quick?
I just have a question for Kevin and Stacy. So, are there still delays with the new builds?
Good
Yeah,
question.
well, it depends. So some new builds, they got ahead of themselves and they have spec homes. So for example, this weekend I'm hosting an open house on Saturday and Sunday on a brand new home that is sitting there looking for a buyer. And so there's no delays on that one at this point. But uh, for others, there still were a number of delays. It took a couple months longer than they promised. This should have happened back in November, and it's now February. Um, and I think most of the supply chain delays, if you will, have worked themselves out. But you just can't count on a builder ever delivering on time. And of course, their contract gives them, as Frank has said, uh, everything goes to the builder on a builder's contract. It's the way it is. And so you'll get it when you get it, but there are some delays with construction from my experience. Maybe Stacy or Dakota, you guys could give your input.
Yeah, mine is just so since it was from the ground up, the rain has really caused a delay. So just the type of season, unfortunately, has prevented them from even pouring the slab right now.
Right.
But all of the other ones, this is my first from the ground up construction. Everything else that I've done, I've had 3 other new construction. Most of them, 2 of them were inventory and 1 of them was near completion. And they actually, all 3 of those were actually closed sooner than expected. So, as long as the weather's good and supply chain is good, then it can close earlier. But like from the ground up, I don't expect it. They're giving us like a April to May timeframe, and I'm like, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. So
Yep.
we'll have to plan
Yep.
for that.
Yeah, that'd be really
Okay.
hard to believe if they haven't even poured a slab yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Shocking. Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
Well, I appreciate the news and roundup. Anybody else want to jump in before I turn the page here? All right. Welcome, Ann. Good to have you on board as well. I am going to go ahead and just mute everybody to eliminate any unnecessary background noise. And where is my mute everybody button? I don't see it now. Okay. Well, if you don't mind, just looks like everybody has muted themselves except Miss Federley. Let me see if I can do that for you. And done. Okay, great. Let's talk about first things first. And as I am wont to do, I'm going to start with the Bible verse, Matthew 6:33, the very first Bible verse I ever memorized as a child. It was my stepfather's favorite verse. And so he was always talking about it. Here goes. Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Now, I'm not going to preach a sermon on that verse, but I just want to point out one thing that has great relevance to our lives and businesses, and that is if we're going to have success in any area of life, we have to keep first things first. We have to identify what is the most important issue or issues between me and the attainment of my goals, and then exercise critical focus in bringing all my energies to bear on that one or few critical issues. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and this is a rhetorical question. I want you to answer it in your mind, but you don't need to jump into the discussion just yet. What is the most important task for a real estate agent? What's the most important thing that you can do to assure your survival in this business and your progress towards meeting your service and your financial goals? I'm going to let that just
Getting
soak in
clients.
for a moment. Getting clients, Ann says. So I am going to give you half credit for that, Ann. Um, half because not all clients are created equal. You are exactly right. We have to get clients, but I'm going to refine it a little bit further. What kind of clients are most conducive to the attainment of our goals? And the answer is sellers. Sellers, qualified clients, and ideally sellers. Ann just redeemed herself by jumping in there before I even spoke the words. That's exactly right. And if you've been in the business very long at all, you've heard expressions like this. Those who list last. If you have an extensive or even a consistent listing inventory, your success in this business is guaranteed. Why? Because there's 35,000 agents out there trying to sell your listings. If you just get the listings, you are going to get commissions. You're going to get to the closing table. The other thing I would say that is so important about getting listings, about getting sellers, is that they create efficiencies in your business. When I talk about buyers, I say the exact opposite, that the greatest threat to the efficiency of your sales business is buyers, because you can spend all of your time driving them around, looking for properties for them on the internet, screening out certain kind they don't want. I have one buyer prospect right now. He's a friend from Sunday school. I've been working with him for many months, and he's recently told me, "Don't send me any DR Horton homes." Like, is that even possible? I know it is if I personally screen everyone, but do I want to do that? No, I don't think I do. And so buyers can just suck up so much time, and then in the end the transfer doesn't go through, or they change their mind, or they end up moving to Pittsburgh. It's just, there's so much risk involved with your time with buyers. But with sellers, man, that's a beautiful thing. You do your homework in advance, you go in, you have a beautiful conversation with them, then you just put your marketing machine to work, and now the offers start coming in. Now you're negotiating offers. You're not driving people around in your car. You're not trying to find new properties that are sometimes unicorns in their price range. How are you going to find a 4-bedroom pool home in the Woodlands for $275,000? Just nonsense like that. So the best advice I can give any real estate agent who wants to create efficiencies in their business so they can get more with less, do more with less, and make sure that they're achieving their goals is to get listings. So how do we do that? And here's where I am going to share my screen. If you saw my email this morning, I put a link in there to this document. It actually came into my inbox. Actually, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning and it was in my inbox waiting for me. And I looked at it. It's a little dated from 2017, 2018, but I didn't find a single thing that it said which was out of date. Everything is absolutely still relevant. It's from the Tom Ferry organization. You should see it on your screen now. 33 ways to get more listings. Can I get a chin nod up and down? You're seeing that on your screen? Okay, very good. So let me go ahead. What I'd like to do is just kind of scroll through this document and talk through some of the ideas that it brings to our attention. So as I scroll through, let me go down here to the first one. And I do want you to jump in as we go through this. I want to hear your comments, objections, experiences with some of these things, or if you have some tweaks that make them even more productive, that would be awesome. I'm going to kind of fly through them because there's 33 and I just want to mention them. But if you want to hit the pause button, you can make me stop, or I can get through and we can come back and talk through the ones that are most relevant. Okay. All right. So let me get this back on my big screen. Number one, leverage qualified buyers to attract sellers. It's very interesting to me that Ferry listed this number one, because it would be number one on my list as well. When you get a qualified buyer and you can notify a neighborhood where that buyer's qualified to purchase, interested in purchasing, perhaps there's nothing that matches exactly what they want on the market. Boy, you send a letter, you send a postcard saying, and I say put a photo of the family in there. The Smith family really wants to live in Cherry Valley. Nothing on the market currently matches what they're looking for. If you've considered selling your home, man, I've got the buyer. Very powerful. You'll likely get multiple listing interviews from that. Use Sly Broadcast. If you're not familiar with this tool, it's been around for quite a while, but it allows you to send out mass voicemail messages. We're very used to mass email, mass text, but a Sly Broadcast is mass voicemail. That your recipients get a voicemail and their phone never rang. Door knocking, hot communities. And I kind of like what they've done here. He just puts a little yellow sticky note with a business card. Please call me about your house. Who knows what about my house? It's just vague enough. It's probably going to trigger some calls. Hey, what about my house? Agent to agent referrals. What he suggests here, go to census.gov and then create a bucket of agents that you know by state. Obviously, you're not going to know a lot of agents in West Virginia, but you can certainly target agents by area. For example, if several years ago, a lot of agents did this when Exxon was relocating to the Woodlands from somewhere in Virginia, I forget exactly where, there was a lot of target marketing of agents in Exxon's home market to get referrals. Use Instagram story polls to engage potential clients. I don't even know if that's still a thing. Blythe can jump in on that. Create a seminar for seniors called Big to Small House. I really do like this. I think there's not enough demographic target marketing going on in our industry, and seniors almost inevitably move. When the last kids go away to college, that house feels awfully big and empty. And at some point, if it's a two-story particularly, they're going to want to downsize to a smaller single story. Contact past clients from 2 to 5 years ago. Similar thing to door knocking. Prepare a CMA, put a sticky note on it. Hey, Jim, you've done well. Curious, have you had thoughts of trading up or down? Let's discuss, talk soon, and then just drop it in the mail to them. Or you could drop it off at their door if you want to. Non-occupieds and investors, these lists are always available online. But the idea is if somebody owns a home that's non-occupied, they're renting it out, but they no longer live in the area, it's quite possible they became an investor by accident. They, for whatever reason, they couldn't sell their home for what they needed to sell it for when they had to move. I have personally been through this multiple times. So you become a landlord by accident. Those people are desperate to sell, the accidental landlords, and you could reach them at just the right time. I love this idea, number 9. It's very creative. Get a celebrity endorsement or influencer. Think about somebody locally that's well known. I just literally just came to mind. Bruce Tuff, he got a school named after his family here in the Woodlands. Well-known attorney. The owner of a local restaurant that's very popular. You know what? We all have access to the one and only Bill Cochran, who is from the Grogan Cochran family line, both of those in his DNA. Bill would love to get on a video with you and say, hey, my family is the one that sold George Mitchell 158,000 acres back in 1967. And the realtor that I'm endorsing is boom, and then gives you a strong endorsement. That would be fun. So I'd love to see more of that. Sign up for seller attraction websites. These are websites that provide free leads not free leads. They provide seller leads for a referral fee. HomeLight and UpNest are just 2 of them. Yikes in 2018. I never quite figured out where they get the word yikes, but the script goes something like this. Thinking of selling your home? I'm Tom Ferry. My team and I are working with 22 qualified buyers, several looking to buy in your area. This is your opportunity to sell for top dollar without all the hassles. Click the link below. You can do that as a video. You can do it as a postcard. And I just have to jump in here and say, remember that using our kvCORE Core Property Boost ads, any one of us can create 22 buyer leads for about $100. And I would definitely spend that in order to get your marketing message to the appropriate neighborhood. I'm just going to do about 3 more of these and then we'll pause because I feel like I'm talking way too much. Number 12, expired listings. Expireds is one of those core sources that most agents get excited about at some point in their career, typically early in the career when they're desperate. The truth is very few agents succeed with expired listings, but those who do usually succeed in a very big way. And the difference is just your willingness to take rejection. If you can take a few people calling you names, and you're the 16th realtor to call me today, why are you bothering me? If you can work your way through that and respond in kindness and compassion and understanding and perseverance, you could make it big with expired listings, but it's easier said than done. Very, very few agents can, in reality, deal with that kind of rejection. Run radio advertising. I will tell you, of the 13 we've looked at so far, this is not my favorite. I have never been a fan of radio advertising. I think it can be good reinforcement if you're already dominant in an area, kind of like a billboard, like, oh, hear you everywhere. I see you everywhere. But I don't think anybody's necessarily going to call you because of a radio ad. Number 14, run YouTube ads. We talk about that quite a bit. And there's my favorite, number 15. Sorry, it was removed. Okay. All right. We got through 14 real ones. All right. I'm going to pause. Tell me, of those actual 14 that we looked at, which ones were most helpful to you, or have you had experience with that you could share with the rest of us? And I'll take the screen share down for just a moment. Okay. The mic is open. I'm going to play my do song, okay? Really? Okay, let me refine the question. Okay, Ann, go ahead. You got your mic light.
I don't have the one that is more successful. I need to get my gear back, myself back into gear. But
Yes.
In my experience, the live broadcast, if we send out the message to the mass, if we send out a mass message, we need to do it in batch, like small batch, especially
Yes.
when we ask for people to respond, because
Yes.
we don't want to overwhelm ourselves.
Yes.
I remember doing this before in a big chunk, and I was bombarded with phone call back, and that was not a good handling experience on my end. So I just want to share my experience
Do it in
there.
small batches. So Ann, I have a similar story. I first heard about Sly Broadcast from a good friend of mine, huge producer in Austin, Texas, and I interviewed him. This was probably about 2012, 10 years ago. And I just interviewed him to find out how he had moved to Austin from Florida, and within 2 or 3 years became one of the top producers in all of Central Texas. So I was benchmarking his best practices, and he said, after the whole interview, he said, "Okay, Frank, here's my secret weapon, Sly Broadcast." And he said he targets specific neighborhoods, not like you said, kind of small batches, maybe a couple hundred homeowners at a time, with a very tailored message to that neighborhood. And it could be something like we've already talked about, and it's because it's a generic message. You can't say, "Hey, Jim and Susie," but you say, "Hi, this is Frank with eXp Realty, trying to reach you because I have right now 22 qualified buyers who have expressed interest in purchasing in your neighborhood, and there's just not enough homes on the market to satisfy the demand. If you've even thought about selling your home anytime this year, please give me a call back. I may be able to save you a ton on realtor fees since I already have the buyers. Give me a call." If it's a real targeted message like that. He told me, what he said is, he said, the last time I did it, this was 2012, he said, I got 4 listings out of one small neighborhood. So
Wow.
yeah, so it can be a very powerful tool. Sai, I'm going to mute you here real quick. Come on, little button, work for me. Oh, Sai, you may have to do it yourself. It's for some reason it's not letting me do it. I don't know why. You have some superpowers. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, there you go, Sai. Why don't you either mute or talk to us? Either one would be fine. All right. Has anybody else had experience with any of those 14 listing suggestions that we can grow from your experience? Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
I was gonna say I've done some of those. I don't know that I've gotten a listing out of
okay,
them specifically. I've done the buyer, like I have a buyer letter that was mostly from we were desperate to find these buyers a house because they were very specific
yes,
about a certain neighborhood that they could
yes,
afford, that was zoned to the school that they wanted. I did get a call from that, but she already had an agent, but
yes,
anyway. And then I've done, of course, Instagram stories, but I feel like those only work if you have an engaged audience already on your social
Yes.
platforms. So if you just never post on Instagram and then you get on there and you try to do a poll on your Instagram story, nobody is going to click anything. You have to
Yes.
build that engagement beforehand before you start asking questions like that.
Okay. Well, words of wisdom from somebody who's been there, done that. Thank you so much,
I've
Blythe.
got one,
Kevin, you want
Frank.
to jump in on this? Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with the buyer letter. We had a client, they wanted their kids to be able to buy a house right there in their neighborhood. The kids are out of state. And so it was a letter campaign to a very small number, maybe 70 homes, if I recall, and
Yes.
found one. And they said, yeah, we'll sell. And we're able to do that transaction and buy them that house. And it was just very focused, and it worked. So, yep,
There you go.
it's doable. Yep.
That's awesome. So I'll tell you, the last time I used that was 2018. That was the last year I was actively selling, looking for buyers and sellers. And I did it to my neighborhood and my buyers. It was the chairman, or I'm sorry, it was the CEO of British Petroleum um, Oil Company, one of the largest companies in the world. And it turned out that I was able to find them a home as a result of that letter right on my block, 3 doors down from my home. And it turned out to be the exact same floor plan this family had lived in Katy years earlier, which had always been their favorite home. It was just this confluence of, seeming almost impossible circumstances coming together. And it worked out beautifully. And again, because I had the buyer, I was able to go down and I didn't give up my commission on that one. I listed the home and I double ended the transaction. So that was a nice way to finish off 2018. So, yes, Velvet, let's hear from you.
Well, you reminded me to do the letter for my qualified buyers because I'm having trouble with several clients finding them a home. And it
Yes,
also reminded me that we have a really great resource through breakthroughbroker.com. It's free to us as EXP agents, and they have a ton of letters already formatted for you. And you could
great.
upload your addresses and have them ship them even. And I think maybe even they can, for a price, um, buy addresses in an area.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure they can. And remind me, Velvet, since I haven't done it personally, how do we as EXP agents access our membership to Breakthrough Broker?
Yeah, it's breakthroughbroker.com, and your login is your EXP. So for me, it's velvet.mcwhorter at exprealty.com, and then whatever your I don't. It's been a while since I've started. I don't know if you have to create the login or if you just use your credentials for like EXP World or whatever you use. But anyway, it's free to you as an
Yes.
agent. And
I
Okay,
think you can
fantastic.
access it through EXP Enterprise. I think there's you can just
There's a
access it
button
that way.
there.
oh, it's an
Yeah,
option there
probably
also.
so.
I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, Blythe. EXP Enterprise is kind of the gateway to all things EXP. You'll find a link there to everything: business cards, t-shirts, workplace, whatever it is you're looking for. Okay, great. Y'all want to take a look at the last 15? Last 18, if my math is right. Okay, 33. Here we go. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see, share. Are you seeing the list on your screen now? Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I'd stop sharing, but I guess I didn't. All right, number 16. Yikes calling your buyer. They love that word yikes. Hi, Jim. This is Frank with EXP. I'm calling for a client who's interested in your home. Do you have a minute? My client is pre-qualified, ready to go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, this is the same message whether we're using a postcard, slide broadcast, or a door-to-door campaign. That's actually calling. Create a referral competition. Anyone who refers you a client gets their name in a drawing, and then you give them some highly desirable gift, tickets to a concert. I know Adam Olson did this. probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it was 2 tickets to the World Series when it was here in Houston. And he had the biggest response to anything he's ever done on social media, hundreds of thousands of views. People didn't have to actually make a referral. They just had to, I think, share the post or something of that nature, but do something that gains involvement. And as Blythe said, if you really want that to work, make sure you already have an engaged audience. Number 18, professional networking on steroids. Start your own private client services. So I'm not quite sure what that has to do with professional networking. In my mind, those are two different things. But private client services typically means you're going to have different levels of service that you provide to buyers and sellers at different price points. The Annie B team is the master at this, and I think their gold level service is like an 8% listing commission, and then silver is a 7%, and the bronze is a 6%. So they totally flip the price conversation, where from 6, 5, or 4 they go 8, 7, 6. It's kind of brilliant. Professional networking, I'm going to treat that separately for just a moment. I did this years ago, and it was very helpful to my business, and I'm going to recommend that you consider it. And that is, you gather all of your preferred vendors together and create your own private networking group. Your electrician, your plumber, your HVAC, your title person, of course, your mortgage person, your gutter person, landscaper, insurance agent, everybody that you do business with personally or you refer business to, and then you invite them to invite their business contacts to it, and just create your own BNI group. I called mine T-Rex for Texas Referral Exchange, and I had a nice logo with a T-Rex monster all put together. And I probably ran that for a year and a half, and it worked for me. I got all the real estate sales referrals out of it. So you can avoid some of the big fees of joining the existing groups and the long waiting lists if you just create your own. So consider that. I'd love to get your feedback if any of y'all have tried that. Create an 8-week sales team competition. And this would, I think he means that for team leaders, but you could honestly do this yourself with your own mastermind group. You could do it with the agents on the call today. Get 8, 10 agents together and say, hey, let's juice this up and have a little competition among ourselves. Number 20, create an expired listing social proof video. Social proof just means it's a testimonial from somebody who has used your services and had good results. 21, the Bob Kuiper method. Now, this is getting hardcore right here. It's a schedule of what you're going to do every day to generate leads. 7:30, aggressive role play. You'll need a partner for that. 8 o'clock, call old and new expireds. 9 o'clock, call hot leads. 10 o'clock, call FSBOs. 12 o'clock, call your database. A lot of calls, but the results are there. This made the list as number 21 because Bob Kuiper went from 0 to 120 transactions in his first year in real estate. I had some additional information on this one. In 1 year, closed 10 transactions a month, 4 hours of phone calls, 3 hours of scheduled appointments, 2 visits, 1 contract. There we go. Those are the numbers, the metrics that he delivered. All right, number 22, create a map of all the agents you work with around the country. If you're brand new, that might be a pretty sparse map. But when I saw this, I thought, man, that would have been a fun thing for me to do, because I did have referral partners from all over. And you could even do this when you go to an EXP event. Say you go to Shareholder Summit in June, or you're going to go to EXPCon in October, and I hope you do. I'm going to be at Build in August and EXPCon in October. Those are the 2 big events I'm going to this year. You could simply collect cards from everybody you meet, put together a map like this, and these are now your referral partners. And you can agree, hey, if I find somebody for Roanoke, I'll send them to you. If you get somebody for the Houston Metro, you send them to me, and then you can create your map. It doesn't mean that you've closed a transaction, but it does mean you have a partner there. And then I would use this in a listing conversation to say, look, it's not just me and my local network. It's not even the 35,000 agents right now in Houston that are going to help me sell your home. But I have referral partners all over the country, and save a picture of your map. Anytime any one of these have a buyer coming to Houston, they notify me first. I have the opportunity to work with them. And whose home do you think I'm going to show first if it comes anywhere close to their buying criteria? Again, you're always looking for something to differentiate you. You want to say something different than every other listing agent who's been to the kitchen table. And stuff like this sounds a little gimmicky, but it's a differentiator. And you need to be the purple cow. You need to be different. 23, email your entire database 2 different questions. I love this one. And I would encourage you, if you do nothing else today, you can do this in about 5 minutes using KV Core. 1, are you planning to sell your home in 2023? There's our little update. And then, have you had any thoughts of selling at these peak prices? Okay, those are 2 great questions. And I'd ask both of them to your database today. 1 email. You don't need graphics. You don't need dancing bears. You don't need photographs. Just send a simple email asking that question and then wait for response. You'll get some. 24, create a seminar for savvy homeowners. Savvy because they sell high and buy low. And he doesn't provide us with that, but obviously you can put together tips on how to sell your home for top dollar. You're going to talk about show condition finishes that buyers find attractive, including the paint colors, which can easily be changed, that kind of thing. And then how to buy low. And here you can implement things like your negotiation strategies that you use to get the best deal for your clients. You can talk about fishing upstream and finding properties before they go on the market. They can't do that, but you can as a savvy realtor. So again, he hasn't given us the presentation, but you could see how you could throw that together pretty quickly. 25, online leads and sellers in disguise. And here's what Tom means by that. When we purchase online leads using even Core Property Boost, we think we're attracting buyers, but we have to always remember many of those buyers have a home to sell. And so he always asks the question, do you plan to sell the home before you buy this one? Okay, so finding sellers. Do sales meetings at offices. Invite newer agents to use you to get listings they couldn't convert on their own with a 50-50 split. And what he means there is like Monday, Power Monday. Show up. I'll share with you before we close what our topic is going to be on Monday. I haven't actually done the reveal on that yet, but I will before we're done. You'll be the first to hear it. But show up and say, hey, newer agents, I've figured out a few things about obtaining listings. If you want me to go with you on your next listing conversation, I'll do it for a referral fee. It's going to help that agent, and it's an additional revenue stream for you. 27, do Facebook and Instagram Live in front of a sold sign. There is no more powerful word in real estate sales than sold. So anytime you can stand in front of a sold sign, you need to do that. That's part of my listing strategy, which I'll talk about maybe on Monday. Divorce attorneys. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. 28, geo-farming. We talk about a lot about that. 30, adopt agent databases who are leaving the business. You pay them a referral fee as long as they're licensed on any deals you close from their database. FSBOs and make me moves. Make me moves that's a strategy in real estate for basically saying to potential sellers, at what price would you sell? I know you may not even be on the market right now, but hey, if I could get you $450 for your home, would you consider selling it? That's what a make me move is. Mega open house. This is where you actually spend the money. Catered food. Your title company won't help you, but your lender will. That's for legal reasons. Have your photography there. Do a drawing. Have the dancing bears. That's what that means. Not just show up with water and cookies. Builder attraction. Number 33. Do an extensive research piece with the title rep to create a list of all the underdeveloped, underutilized pieces of real estate in your town. market your finding to 7 to 10 right-sized builders. That means it's not D.R. Horton, it's not Perry Homes. You're looking for the smaller mid-sized builders. And then send this list to the builder and offer to represent them in purchasing that home. Okay, there you go. Bonus tip, here's the last one. Have sellers write a letter to their former neighbors endorsing you and your services. I will admit this was one of the very few items on the list that I had never thought of before, and I thought it was brilliant. So the next time you sell a home in a neighborhood, ask the sellers to write a letter endorsing you. This is especially powerful if it's in your geo farm, and then you send that out in your next communication to all the homeowners, right? Powerful, powerful social proof. That's exactly what that is. Whew, okay. About to run out of gas here. No, not really. I get more energetic. Movement creates energy. Did you know that? If you feel a little lethargic, start moving. Burn that energy you don't think you have, and you'll create new energy. So I'm fired up, ready to go. What do you guys think about those, the last half of the list? What caught your attention?
I can vouch for sale by owners. Although
Okay.
not the it's not the way that I'm trying to go in my business right now. I actually have been thinking about going back to them. It's a little cyclical because it is a grind, just like the expireds. You're
Yes.
going to call a lot of people, but you have to come from a place of really caring about somebody, and the goal is to just set the appointment, and it's a waiting game and a follow-up strategy, because
Yes.
eventually they will list, but just like expireds, they're getting, as soon as that home hits the market on Zillow, it is getting call after call after call. And so
Yes.
it's a little, they are frustrated. So you just have to kind of put yourself in their shoes. But
Yes.
my first year, I did get 4 for sale by owners, and 2 of those also needed help buying. And they have actually become
Wow.
really great clients for life. I've used them to leverage a lot of my business and write me referrals and all of that good stuff. So it does work. It's not comfortable,
Yes.
but that's okay. It does get you,
Yes.
and I should probably take my own advice and call them again.
Go call them again. Yes. Yeah. And this isn't a FISBO class, but I'll say when I have reached out to them in the past, I've had a good response because I didn't call. I knocked on the door and I brought them information that would be helpful to them in selling their home on their own. I bring them a CMA, give them some comps that they can use to justify their price if they're priced at market, and then also a seller's disclosure, a TREC seller's disclosure. And I inform them that they're subject to the law just as we are as real estate agents. They have to provide a disclosure on their home to all potential buyers. So I inform them, educate them, continue to serve them, and then you put yourself in the preferred position. We know 95% of FISBOs are ultimately going to list with an agent. Well, then they've probably been called on by a number of them. But if you've been the one serving them unselfishly, been a great source of information, you're in the preferred position to get that listing. All right, there's my FISBO commercial. Anybody else want to jump in here? The sands of time are flowing through the hourglass, so this is your chance. Jason, Belinda, Isabel, anybody else who hasn't had a chance? Okay, go, Kevin, go. You're teasing us.
Where am I? There we go. How about that? One of the ones that said, create a contest for referrals or whatnot. I've slept a little since my class. Remind me, if you would, on the legality of helping folks with referrals. Is that maybe a national thing and not so much in Texas? What can we do and stay legal?
So you may have noticed that when I covered that one, I shifted the content of the contest as Adam did to something that's legal in Texas.
Okay.
You are eligible if you share this post or if you like or comment on this post. Don't reward people for sending you referrals. That is subject to the $50 limit. And it can't be cash or cash equivalent. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Kevin. We don't want anybody to inadvertently get thrown in the pokey and it be traced back to coaching call. We would never want that. Okay. All right, so let's do the big reveal. We'll draw the curtain back. What are we going to talk about on Monday at Power Monday? I'll be putting this on the calendar a little bit later this morning, but I'm going to teach on Monday, and I'm going to do it on the kitchen table conversation. In other words, once you've identified a seller prospect, how do you attract them into a working relationship with you? Sellers tend to be harder to snag than buyers. They are quite often interviewing multiple agents. They do typically list with the first one that they meet with. But with all those factors in play, how can you put yourself in the best position to be the one that gets that listing, that they sign with you right there, first night, first meeting at the kitchen table? I'm going to walk you through step by step by step. I'm going to show you exactly what to say, what order to say it in, and I'm going to share with you what supporting documents that you need to have with you in order to justify what you're telling them and to gather additional information that's going to be helpful to you in putting the listing up on the MLS and properly marketing the home. So we're going to do that live in the Loft training room at 10 a.m. on Monday. We won't broadcast live, but I will record it, and then it will go up on our YouTube channel. But I would encourage you to come. I did my mortgage team meeting in there on Tuesday, and the feedback was really interesting. Several people commented they prefer the Loft training room to the big training room, and what they said was, we can actually talk in here. We can actually hear the comments that other people make. It's not the great hall where you get all the bouncing of the sound and it kind of sucks it up. So it is a little more intimate. It seats about 21. I can assure you that we will squeeze you in one way or the other, but I would encourage you to come live and in person. We can talk through this, and I think you'll be in a much better position to achieve your goals, right? The reason that you got into this business, because it's all about getting those listings. Well, there we go. That's what I wanted to share with you. Any final comments? Anybody want to jump in before we pull the plug on the February 9th edition of Coaching Call? Oh, y'all are being shy. But let me just say this. I appreciate you guys being here. This always gets my Thursday off to a great start. Actually, I've been going since 4 o'clock this morning, so I just needed an audience. So I appreciate y'all providing that. But good to see you. God bless you guys. Let me know anytime I can help. I'm here. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Frank.
You're welcome.